Oh my god.
Yes!
Yes!
Dude, look at that.
Woo!
Let's go! Dude, that's a giant.
Let's go!
Well, how's it going, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of TRF. This here is another little snippet episode from my 24-hour challenge video. So, if you guys have not watched the 24-hour challenge video, stop what you're doing right now and click on this link that's up here in this corner. It will be linked down in the description below. It is one of the coolest videos that I've ever produced here on YouTube, and I'm pretty sure it is the longest fishing video ever on YouTube, sitting at 22.5 hours long. So, I know a lot of you guys don't have time to watch the whole video. I probably wouldn't either, but at least go check it out just to say that you did watch it. It's a pretty cool episode to tune into. But I wanted to take a few seconds in this video here to show you guys some awesome fish catches, break down with the whiteboard. If you guys saw the last episode, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope that it taught you a few things about how to catch fish on your bodies of water. And so we're gonna hop into a few fish catches from my night fishing portion of the 24-hour challenge, where I caught the biggest bass of my entire year on the smallest lure I have ever thrown. So that's probably something to do with the title, Giant Bass on Tiny Lure, but it was definitely one of the craziest fish catches of my life, and I'm so excited to share it with you in a smaller form video than my 24-hour challenge. So we're gonna jump into the content, have a few fish catches from my night fishing sesh with Austin. We're gonna come back here to the boat, talk about how to catch fish like I did in the video, and then of course we're gonna end the video with a few awesome fish catches, including that giant bass. So let's hop into the content. Oh, those fish right there?
Oh my gosh, dude, there's like a giant.
Are those bass?
Yeah, those are all bass.
No way.
Yep.
Holy crap, I gotta get in there.
Oh, I got one.
You got him?
Yep.
No way.
Good one. Good one.
Spot lock us down.
Yeah, he's first spot lock.
You got him?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, sir. Show him.
That one, dude.
First one of the night.
You. Good deal, bro.
Good
That's
deal.
my second cast.
Dude, they're all chilling.
Yeah,
there.
those are school. That's like a school largemouth.
I see him in there. Holy crap. All right, one sec.
Oh, dude.
Why did you throw it back?
No.
You're the biggest dingus of them all. Got him.
No way.
On the hair, Jake. Yep.
God,
Not
dude,
the big one. Not the big one. It's 8 fish though. My first cat. I'm gonna get the camera frame. That's fine. Oh, that's right.
Okay.
Bring it in here. A
Is it
whitey.
white bass?
A white bass.
Yes, dude. We're on the whites already.
We're on the whites already. Look at this.
Hey, if we catch a bunch of those, man, I will clean them.
Will you really? Yeah. Should I throw them in the well?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
If we start getting on something.
Adios, brother. Got him.
Just got him. Just a big one.
They're biting, folks.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one. Oh my gosh. I don't want to break my rod. I think it's 3-pounder.
Holy cow.
Look how fat he is, dude.
Dude, that dude's got some girth.
Look how fat he is.
He's got some stinking girth.
Golly. Show the camera. No.
Oh.
Come on. Come on. Ah. Come on. Ah. There we go. Look at the girth on that sucker. Goodness. Yep.
Got him?
Yeah, big.
How big?
I don't really know. Oh gosh, he's a big one. Dude, he swallowed the jerkbait. He said yes.
Oh, you didn't swallow it.
Oh, he thought he ate it.
I don't even care that I'm not catching him. I'm excited to see someone else whack him.
How y'all doing? About a 3-pounder. Nothing crazy yet, but 4 fish in what, 30 minutes?
Your boy's got one on the hair jig. It could be a white bass again. I don't know. He ate twice, so we'll see.
Let me move my. You could have like a 10-pounder on too.
He's not fighting very hard at all. I don't think.
Those deceiving 10-pounders do that.
No.
That's a nice largemouth. And he friggin' swallowed it.
Wow. All right. On the hair.
Look at that, bud.
He's a skinny bud. Heck yeah.
Good job, T.
On the hair jig. Look at that. Y'all will see how he ate that hair jig.
Choked it, bro.
All right. It took him 2 times to eat it. He missed it the first time and got it the second.
Got you.
That's a skinny fish.
Look at that.
It's weird.
Little black dots, man.
Old black dots.
There's number 5, dude. Got him.
Got him.
That one feels like a much bigger one.
Okay. Little buddy. Little buddy.
Whoa!
Whoa.
Yeah, I hate that.
I hate that.
Yeah, that ain't gonna do any good for us. There you go, guys. That would be number 6. Sweet. That's actually number 7 of the night.
Yeah. Hair jig got him. Hair jig got him. Biggin. Biggin, dude, biggin. On the hair jig. What's Ricky swimming at me? Swimming at me, swimming at me. The hair jig coming through when these lights are all fizzled out.
That'll call for sure.
Woohoo! Woohoo! Did it eat it?
Yeah.
Did it eat it? Oh my gosh!
That bait is gone.
On the hair jig and the lights. Oh wow, that hair jig, you guys can't even see it. It's gone. It's down his, it's almost down his crunchers.
Down in his crunchers now.
Yes. That's a 3. Yeah. So now that we are a few fish catches in, of course I wanted to bring out the whiteboard, and if you guys hopefully enjoyed the whiteboard in the last episode, you guys know it's coming. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kind of draw an illustration here to try to help you guys understand exactly what we're doing. Now, if you guys have never fished green lights before, you may not quite understand the dynamic and how green light fishing quite works. Now, the first misconception is that the fish bite all night long, and that's definitely not true. They have windows of feeding just like they do during the daytime. And so in this video, I think our peak feeding times were around 10:30 p.m., 1:30 a.m., and 3:30 a.m. So some pretty crazy feeding times that, of course, when everybody gets out sleeping, those fish are still feeding, especially in the summertime when that water is warm, and they don't want to be up shallow all morning and all day. They want to be shallow at night. And so I'm going to kind of draw here the situation of what we were faced with, and I'm going to kind of draw a few docks. Now what we're fishing is a lake called Lake LBJ. In the Lake LBJ, there are a ton of boat docks. And when I say a ton of boat docks, I mean an absolute butt ton of boat docks. And so one of the ways to catch fish on this lake is by skipping boat docks. But also a lot of these dock owners know that they want fish hanging around their docks so them, their grandkids, their sons, whatever, can catch those fish. And so they put up what's called green lights. Now there's many different types of green lights. There's ones that shine from the top of the dock into the water, but the ones that we're fishing and the ones that are most successful, at least that I found throughout the years, are submerged green lights. They're more expensive, they're more expensive to maintain and buy, but they are by far a lot better at getting the ecosystem to come around that light. Now you may ask, why the heck would a dock owner put a light out? What does a light do to attract fish? And to be honest, I'm not a biologist. I don't know the exact answers to that question, but I do know that lights attract the phytoplankton, which attract the minnows, which attract, of course, the bigger bait fish, which attract the predators of the lake, the largemouth, and of course, smallmouth bass. In my case, no smallmouth here. But I'm gonna kind of draw a few lights here. So of course, the lights are not gonna be this big. The lights are about the size of a light bulb, but they're very, very bright and they emit a good amount of light. So this blue here is going to show about the size of, if this is the size of a dock, this is about the size of a piece of light that you can see coming off. And then you have what's called, I call it the ring. And outside this ring here is dark water. So you have the very, very bright center of the light, and then you have kind of some, light-ish water outside the light until it gets to a certain point, depending on how big the light is, where you cannot see anymore. And so what we would see in these lights is, especially this time of the day, or this time of the night, I should say, there are tons of fish stacked up. See if I can draw the fish thing. Good. There are tons of fish stacked up in these lights, just like this. And there's a few things that I'm going to tell you guys about these light fish that hopefully you guys can put into practice on your own lakes. Gosh, I cannot draw a fish. There it is. Okay. So what my buddy Austin told me that I was fishing with in this video is that when you see a fish that is within that ring, within either the very bright area or within the lightly lit area in the water, that fish is going to be really, really hard to catch. I don't exactly know the science for why, but in most cases, those fish are going to be hard to catch. And so what we focused on is casting our baits, specifically the hair jig and the fluke and the jerk bait, in this area right here. the area just outside of the ring. The area where, of course, you cannot see, the light does not penetrate, but in this area right here is where those giant bass are going to sit and position themselves to come in and feed on the things that are living around those lights at night. And so the vast majority of our bites came on those areas. Of course, we caught fish way outside the light, and we also caught a few, it was very odd, kind of an anomaly, within the very, very heart of the light. But in most cases, you'd see a giant bass sitting there in the middle, and he would not eat a single lure. But the biggest bass that I caught, we'll see in a second. I guess you won't be able to see the cast itself on where it landed, but I cast right into that area where I couldn't see anything because I knew there was a big fish sitting in there, and I just saw the fish kind of shift out of that light area into the dark. And so I was confident that by casting in this area here, this outside ridge where you can't see, that I was able to catch a big fish, and I did. And so we're going to hop back into the video here. Hopefully you guys learned a few things. We're going to show, again, a few more fish catches, and then we're going to come to the outro and talk about the gear that I use to catch these fish. Because I'm convinced that it is a pretty incredible setup, and I want you guys to understand what this setup means to me in my arsenal. So let's catch some fish.
Oh, yes. That's a giant.
Oh.
Dude, we're hitting the species list. Whoa.
Look what we got. The camera can't see it, can it? Looks like I got a bad angle on it. There we go. Nope, nope. Look at that guy. That's what you call a biggin.
Texas
and he
giant.
Literally didn't even like eat it. It's in his chin. I hooked him in the chin. The hair on his chinny chin chin. That's a pretty one. See ya. Let me go. Oh my god, it feels like a white bass. I didn't get the gar, but I got something. There we go. Oh! Oh, I was close.
Oh.
Ooh.
That could have been worse, buddy.
Could have been in my face.
Yep.
You legit.
Oh my gosh.
I've got him. I've got him.
Yeah?
Yep.
Well,
I've got him.
we both got quite the epidemic.
I've got him, dude. That's so weird. I thought I saw him turn and eat it. Ow.
On the hair.
Oh, that's a fish, dude. That's a bass.
Oh my god.
That's a 10 pounder. That's a 10 pounder. That's a 10 pounder. Get the net, get the net.
Yeah, you just fight it, bro. Just fight
That's the biggest fish I've ever seen.
You just fight it, bro.
That's a 10 pounder.
Oh my gosh, Tyler. It's gonna dog.
It's huge, dude. He jumped and I was like, holy bonkers. Rod so much.
It's a great rod, buddy. Oh my gosh.
Yes!
Yes!
Dude, look at that.
Woo! Let's go!
Dude, that's a giant.
Let's go!
That's an 8.
Yes!
On the hair jig!
Dude.
I don't think you guys understand. That's how big of a lure he just ate. 1/8 ounce hair jig.
I want to get you a good.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Here, hit spot lock again. Turn it back around. Oh, what's your rod?
Stick him in the live well.
Oh my gosh. That's an 8, boy. Well, you don't get a cold pen on that one, buddy.
Y'all need to buy this rod. Holy cow.
Oh.
If you're gonna throw a hair jig or anything little light and finessey, holy crap. Ow, my wrist hurts.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Ow, gosh. Oh, wow. Oh, I'm gonna rewatch that fish catch. It's like 772 a lot of times. I'm just gonna manually enter it into 772.
How do you do that?
So now that you've seen plenty of fish catches, it was an incredible night. Austin and I had a blast out there fishing green lights. Beware, it is not always that on fire. I have found that the fish do bite better at night than they do in the daytime, especially during the summer. That is why the morning and the evening bite is always really good, because those fish are coming off of their feeding windows from the nighttime. But the lure that I caught these fish on today was a tiny hair jig. Now, actually, do I have one out? I'm gonna have to get inside of my box here. The lure that I was throwing is called a hair jig, and a lot of people in the South especially throw hair jigs, but they rarely throw the type of hair jig that I'm talking about. Usually they're throwing what's called a preacher hair jig, which is more of an offshore ledge style hair jig. This here is my little hair jig box of my Outcast Tackle hair jigs, and the hair jigs that I was throwing was a shad color. I don't actually have any more of those. I ran out on this day of fishing. But here is a black one. It is the Outcast Tackle Seth Fighter jig. This here is an 1/8 of an ounce. It is absolutely incredible how light this hair jig is. And usually for giant Texas largemouth bass, especially ones that weigh 7.8 pounds, I usually would not throw a tiny hair jig. But I had to get some confidence in the hair jig before I headed to New York for my New York series. And so I wanted to throw it on this rod right here. Now, if you guys saw the New York series, you know how important this rod was to me throughout that whole tournament scene. And actually, I believe I caught 1 or 2 PBs on this rod throughout the week, PB smallmouth bass. And that is the Team Lew's Custom Pro Speed Spin 7.6 medium. This here is an absolute beauty of a rod, absolutely incredibly designed by Lew's to be a very, very light lured rod. And so what I use this for, I have a long leader drop shot on it right now, but I did use it to sling one of those hair jigs out there and catch my giant bass. And as you saw, it got him in the mouth and it did not break off. And that's what I want to talk about with this rod, is that it did not break. Usually when you have a giant fish on a spinning rod, it is incredibly hard to land that fish unless you have all your settings, of course, tuned in perfectly. And I did have my drag pretty good, but my drag was definitely tighter than it should have been for a fish of that size, just purely because I didn't even know it was that big. Until it jumped right away, I had no clue it was that big, so I should have held the drag a lot looser from the start. But the way that I was able to land that fish was with this rod. Now, this rod, being a 7.6, has a ton of give. I mean, this rod bends all the way back to like the second guide, which for a spinning rod, especially at this length, helps out a ton. So when the fish digs at the boat, instead of it digging a little bit on your rod tip, the bend, and then the drag kicking in, this basically had give almost all the way to like the first guide here. So that if any time this giant fish made a surge toward deep water, it wouldn't break me off because 1, I had good line, but 2, I had this incredible hair jig rod. And so it will be linked below for you guys to check out. I do make money from Tackle Warehouse affiliate programs, so if you guys are ever shopping for tackle, please click the links in my video descriptions, any one of the Tackle Warehouse links, and you guys will be linked to my account as well. And so with that said, hopefully you guys enjoyed a few things about today's episode. It was fun for me to be able to pick apart a few of my favorite fish catches from the 24-hour challenge and display them to you guys in a shorter format. If you enjoy this sort of format with the whiteboard for teaching, I'm going to hopefully bring this out a lot more throughout my instructionals this fall, so comment below if you enjoyed that. And we'll see you guys on the next episode of Tyler's Real Fishing.